Welcome to the show, Peter Paul Parker. Your career started as bass player before writing and producing albums of your own work as well as others. You've played bass guitar with the bands such as Thin Lizzy. Basically doing so, you've made it into very much the who's who of British popular music. Changing genre, you've gone on to write your album Anahata Earth Echoes, which is highlighting your changing perception of the world and energy. I'm sure we'll talk much more about that later on as the interview progresses. There is loads to talk with you about, Peter. Thank you so much for joining us, and please do tell us more.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah, I started off as a musician many years ago. Actually, I came from quite a traumatic childhood. My parents died when I was very young, and I had to go in to get like a sales job. And I just found like a load of sharks swimming around me. I really hated it. So I just said to myself, this is enough. And I literally put my keys through the estate agent Windows door and said, I'm not paying this mortgage anymore. I'm going to go and be a musician. And at that point, the world allowed you to do that because you could hook up in a little bed sit in England. You could get enough money just to keep you going, like bobber job gigs and things like that. And I just blossomed from there. I went to bass college and studied with some great guitarists and bass players there, and really enjoyed my time as a musician. It was a wonderful time. And I realized that actually when I was playing on stage, and especially improvising on stage with some of the musicians I was playing with, it was kind of like a meditation for me because it kind of took away from all the traumatic childhood. And I really loved those moments when you're really connecting with people in a band. I think that was the real special time for me. That's what I really loved about being a professional musician was those times on stage where you're just improvising and really connecting with the audience as well. Yeah. Really special. So yeah, that was really my beginnings as a musician. I kind of threw away the corporate world coming into music, grew my hair out nice and long.
What are you doing now?
Still writing songs. I'm still writing songs, but I'm also like a Qigong instructor and a meditation coach. I do that as well on the side to make money. So that's to do with energy and energy work and making that really part of my life as well. I've got to the point in my life now where my songs I'm writing, I really love the songs that I'm writing because it's all about conscious music. It's about being conscious as a human being. But also I love my career as a Qigong instructor because I get to help people as well. Every day I'm speaking to people and sort of turning their heads and saying, look, you're a human being. You can do better than this. Yeah. And they are. And I'm seeing people change like that. So music, I personally think, is the heart of everything, but also communication. I've become better at that as well. So that's really come through in my lyrics of being able to write a song that is really coherent about how I feel now, rather than before. It was a bit dreamy, like when I was very, very much younger. But now is really to the point and really saying, this is how I feel about it. So, yeah, I'm a Qigong instructor. To answer the question, and I still go out and do gigs, but very small ones to intimate crowds. So, but I want to get out again, which is what this conscious music project is all about, is to get artists like me off their butt and doing stuff, and also get younger people out and doing stuff as well. Because I think it's about the youth. The youth can't carry on in the world that's running like this at the moment. So we need to open that up for them and make it better and give them the opportunities. Because I remember going into a gig many years ago. And I'm sure you remember a band called The Faces. Rod Stewart used to be in it. And they came out and they, even though it was like 1980s, I think it was, they were kind of all dressed like The Faces. So it's quite extreme for them to look like that. And they played the first half and the second half of the set. I just thought the music was phenomenal. And then they played this little bit in the middle. And I thought, well, what was that? So I went up and spoke to the lead singer at the end of it. And he said, well, that's what the record label's telling us to play. They want us to play that. And I said, no, do the stuff at the beginning and the stuff at the end. That's beautiful stuff. Yeah. And I realized then that the music business is like pushing people into products rather than allowing them to be the artists that they want to be.
Yeah.
And that to me is a crying shame, because people should be allowed to express themselves in the way that they want to express themselves. So, yeah, I saw major issues then, back then, as I was a bass player in the music business. So, and I've had other experiences where I thought, this is all just corporate now. It's all corporate. It's all sort of business is like turning you into like a meat machine, a meat grinder, putting you into a place where you're thinking, this is it, this is you, this is how you're going to be. And I was just thinking, let people express themselves the way that they want to. That's why I'm calling this conscious music project that we're doing the New Renaissance, to allow people to be artistic again, to allow people just to be who they are and let themselves breathe, not being strangled by the corporate world as it is today. So
I noticed also that you've set up a local charity called Brighter Living. Can you tell us a little bit about what that does and why you set that up, please?
I was asked to go and teach Qigong in an elderly community centre. I wasn't a teacher at all. I was just, she asked, my mentor asked me to go and do that. I had nothing to do with elderly people at that point. So I just thought, all right, I'll give it a go. As I do, I'm always open to any new ideas or opportunities. So I went and started doing this Qigong practice thinking they're going to think it's all weird and woo-woo and all this kind of stuff. And then after about 4 or 5 classes, there was 6 regulars coming. Then it turned to 10 and 15 then 20. Then I was getting 30 to 40 people in the room a week. In fact, they were all coming out of the tea rooms into my room. Right. So that everybody was happy with me. I was charging whatever they could afford. So that was also a wonderful thing for them, because it meant that the people who didn't have the money could come in to the classes as well. That unfortunately stopped after lockdown. But that made me see that no matter what age you are, you're still a human being underneath that. You still have the soul inside of you. You still have your energy. You still are just as important. The wisdom that we miss from our society today, from the elderly, is terrible. It's a terrible shame. Yeah. So that to me made me see, wow, these people are just like me. It's just their vehicles are a little bit more clapped out. So it's I was trying to give them MOTs every week to get them a bit more sort of up, and it worked. And the whole coming together, because I sing a couple of old rock and roll songs at the end of the Qigong class as well, like Let's Twist Again and things like that, just to give them a boost. And by about a couple of months, when their physical condition changes, they get up and bop. And you're going, wow, look at you, sitting there almost like dying of like boredom. And then all of a sudden they're dancing. And you think, what is going on with this world? Why are they thrown on the scrap heap? And the horror stories I've had from some of the medical industry, the way that they speak to them as well, that made me think this needs to be addressed. And that's why I thought I'd set a charity up to try and help them, hoping that charity would start to trickle down to say, you know, it's kind of cool to do yoga. It's kind of cool to do Qigong. It's kind of cool to do these Tai Chi, these martial arts. If you find a teacher that resonates with you, it's kind of cool. So that's what my thing with all of that was, to try and get people to be more healthy, because we're living in a world where we're being thrown carcinogens and pathogens into our food, into our paint, it's everywhere. You know, it's like madness. And so my point is, look after your body. When you look after your body, your mind and your body starts to connect with each other, you'll start to realize I can be more healthy just by making simple choices. And I think that's important, because energy is what we're all made of. Matter comes from energy. And when we start to tap into the energy of us, which is why I use the Om sign, the old Vedic Om sign, which is the root note of everything. We're just harmonics of that. Yeah, you got it as well.
Right there, yeah, there it is.
yeah. Harmonics as well. I know. Definitely. Great minds think alike, as it were.
Is that something you'd consider going back to? I noticed you mentioned it sort of stopped because of lockdown and so on. Is it something you'd want to go back and continue with if you can?
I've just found some funding to go into an Alzheimer's and Parkinson's ward. I've been doing that for now 5 or 6 weeks.
Fantastic.
My God, they are changing, because they're sitting there catatonic when I first walk in. I think, you know, it's a bit like walking into a very dodgy party when you think, and then you think, right, I've got to change this. They're not going to change it. I've got to change this. So I put my energy into it, and you see them lifting. And now they're actually smiling when I walk in and greeting me, calling me Peter and things like that. So, I'm still doing that. And what I want to do is trying to train people into becoming instructors so that they can do what I'm doing. So I don't have to be so hands-on with it.
Yeah.
Time is a very big thing for me. I want more time to really devote back to music, but I've got to do this as well. It's like a calling for me. So, it's seeing the changes in people especially when they're looked upon as catatonic or not responding, and then you can see their brain starting to react again, basically because they're connecting their mind with their body.
Yeah.
You think about, we've got 24/7 bad news, right? And what are we thinking about? Our mind's going out all the time. Oh my God, we're going to war with Russia. Oh my God, there's no energy. Oh my God, everything's so expensive. So it's all going out. It's not coming back inside. And that's why I love music so much. If you've got conscious music where you're listening to somebody who's singing about good things, in my Qigong practice, we say our biggest saying is good news makes good brain, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Makes a good brain. So with bad news, if you turn the television on, what do? You get a bad brain within about 2 minutes.
It makes them feel better when they see bad news, right?
Yeah.
My friend was just saying the other day that, William Randolph Hearst used to say, if it bleeds, it leads, right? It must feel wonderful to see if they're just sitting there and you play some music and they get involved. That's a beautiful feeling, right?
Oh, yeah. It took me back to the days when I used to do stadium gigs when I was a musician. But even though it's only like 30 people, they'll still, I get them swaying with the arms like I'm back in the stadium again. And you can see, just because they're old doesn't mean they got to die. It means they can still enjoy themselves. And that, to me, it's the music at the end that wraps it all up, because no other Qigong instructor does that. Puts a decent sort of bit of music at the end of it where they can get involved, they sing along, and it's just beautiful. And that's what I love about music, is that it brings people together. And that's what I love about the music, especially the songs I do at the end of the class, because they are singing along. I just stop singing and you can hear them singing back to you. So it's like being at the gig, on a Monday morning. It's really funny.
Now, who were some of your social conscious music artists?
We've got Cindy Alter. She, way back in the day, she had a song called Substitute. Okay. She had a big hit. She's a South African, and she's had quite a big music career around the world. But she didn't break America, which is what she tried to do. She's living in Nashville now. So she's one of the artists on the roster. We've got Deborah Bishop. She's also a singer-songwriter out of Nashville. We've also got a guy called Masood Taj. He's a Persian flute player. He was brought up by Sufi parents. Beautiful flute, like a spiritual flute. It's a wonderful thing. We've got Paul Singer from the Wild Foxes. He's doing short stuff from it. He's like a Midlands English artist. You've got me doing my stuff. Andrea Ward, another American, and Chandali Adjoba. She's also doing it as well. So, and also I'm just speaking to a guy called Mohammed, who's like a sitar player. So we've got like a world music feel to it. He's just about to tour England in the summer. He's living in Vancouver, and I'm looking forward to meeting him. He said he's going to come and have a jam with me with his guitar at my house, in my studio. So I'm looking forward to that. So we got quite an eclectic mix of people, and it should be a really great event.
What's the name of your event that you're having?
Conscious Music for the People. What we're also doing is taking 1-minute reels from people to highlight what they're doing in the world to make the world a better place. So the whole idea of this event is to say, actually, we're human beings. We've got a vision that the world can be so much better for us as human beings, and better for nature, better for everything. And this is our way of starting off, saying we're going to start to do something about it. And that's what we want, which is why obviously I connected with Skyler, with Music for Global Change, to say, yeah, we're doing this. We're behind you. We want to get this going, because it is time to have a new renaissance. It's like every time you have a dark period with humanity, there's always a renaissance. We had the age of chivalry. We've had the actual renaissance in Italy. You had the Greek Renaissance with the philosophers coming through. You also had that in the Vedas thousands of years ago with the philosophers and the artists coming through. So we've always had this vibration, this wave of music coming through, and thoughtful people. And I think this is the time for it now. When it's always, what's that expression? It's always darkest before the dawn.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty damn dark now. Yeah. So we've got a dawn coming, which is amazing. So I want to be part of that. And to me, how I feel about that, and when I do my meditations and practice my qigong, is that I feel you can be as big or as a smaller part of this as you want to, because it's going to happen anyway. So we're coming out of like the age of Pisces, which has been like a deceitful sort of male heavy push down sort of energy, which has been like deceptive, coming into the age of Aquarius, where you have the water, the nurturing, the love, the peace, the harmony, the acceptance. So this is happening anyway. I feel that we as human beings, we need to start to accept that and start to enjoy it.
Definitely.
Yeah. And thank you for throwing this event, man. I mean, it's really wonderful. That's how we got to do it. We got to expand the social conscious music movement through live music. You know what I mean? It's going to be wonderful. And it will just inspire more people to come to the movements that we got going. Tom?
Yeah, well, a couple of things I want to ask you about. First of all, I listened to Anahata Earth Echoes, or some of the tracks you got on there. It's phenomenal. Personally, I think that was amazing music. Loved it. Can you tell me a little bit about what made you switch into that? And also, I loved your motto. Your motto, "Journey inwards, succeed outwards," is just brilliant. And what made you come up with that motto? And tell us a bit about that, please.
So that's the story. When I was 6 years of age, I went around the world. My father wanted to go to Australia. So we went by boat, and we stopped at all these different islands like Fiji and met all these indigenous tribes. And there's me, a little 6-year-old boy back in the 70s, looking at these men in grass skirts and things like that, but looking at them and going, wow, I mean, you're a human being. It was like I was so taken by their energy. Yeah. And then when I got to Australia, I got to the Aborigines, I went, wow, you know, you guys are incredible. When I was very young, I realized that the world and the way human beings acted with each other wasn't right. I didn't think it was right at all. So that stuck with me all the way through to this point where I was having terrible trouble, like psychic attacks, or I don't know what you call them, but like terrible troubles with, so I felt like entities coming into the room. So I put this black tourmaline bracelet on, which is like a protection, but also red carnelian, which are crystals that give you creativity. And all of a sudden, and I was looking into the chakra system at the time, the energy system of the body, and I wrote this track for the pineal gland, which is the 6th track on the album. And it just came out, and I just started thinking about the chantings I heard from Fiji and the Aborigines, and I just started doing this way over this world music that was playing in. And I played it to my wife, and she said, "What is that?" And I thought, it can't be that bad, is it? She goes, what is that? What is that? I said, well, it's just something I've done. And she goes, wow, that's amazing. So I did a whole album with that. And so I started with the root chakra going up. It was really for me to meditate on the chakras.
Okay.
And then I decided to try and release it. I didn't want to do it for myself. I wanted somebody else to do it. So I got New World Music to release it for me. And they wanted 3 other tracks on top of that. So I wrote those as well. But it was really not to have lyrics in it. It's just more...
emotion.
Sounds. And, emotions,
Yeah, just let it go. You know, just don't think about lyrics. Just let it go. And the repetitiveness is to get you into like that, lull you into that beautiful meditation state. So that was the reason for doing that. And I love doing it. But I still do rhythm music like that and stuff like that and chanting. But I'm going back to singer-songwriting music stuff now.
Brilliant.
And the other question was...
your motto, journey inwards, succeed outwards.
That's all about you as an individual, unique expression of what you are.
Yeah.
It's you. The world is not about anybody else. It's about you and you connecting with what you do as a human being, nothing else. So if you journey inwards, you suddenly you capture that, I call it the ocean of nectar on the album, is one of the tracks, the ocean of nectar inside of you, your heart. And when you can find that silence within your heart, you realize, wow, that's you, Tom, that's you, Skyler, that's everybody around me. And everybody's got this beautiful peace inside of them. why aren't we sharing it with each other? What's all this other? Because it's like you've got all these layers of you where now science is actually showing you that when you get a bit of trauma, it gets stuck in your body. When you get upset, emotions, all this kind of stuff, it gets stuck in your body, and therefore you're not releasing it. So what I realized through my Qigong practice, I was unpeeling all the emotional problems from my childhood, all the trauma and everything like that, and going deeper and deeper and deeper inside of me. And all of a sudden, hey, here he is, Peter. He's back, after the 6-year-old boy, done all this journey and suddenly gone back to that 6-year-old boy, go, hey, let's have a bit of fun with this. Let's have a bit of fun. Why are we taking this all so seriously? That's really, for me, this is a learning school. Earth is a learning school. And what more do you learn than getting back into your own vibration through music, through singing?
What's the name of your event that you're having?
Conscious Music for the People. We've set up a Facebook group. We've got a website called Conscious Muse Collective, and the tickets are free. We got free tickets for the people who can't afford it, but we got $10 tickets for special tickets. They get MP3s from the artists.
Where's it being held, Peter?
It's online.
Brilliant. So literally everybody can, as long as they can get online, they can participate and take a look at it. Brilliant.
And when is it?
March the 18th.
Okay.
11 a.m. PDT time, 2 p.m. EDT time, or 6 p.m. UK time. So it's about 3 hours. We've got Lisa Florida from 8 Billion Podcast. She's actually going to be comparing, and she's going to be talking to some of the artists through the show as well. It's going to be a big theme all the way throughout the event. So why we're doing this, and we're doing it to promote conscious music and to get more people conscious. So 18th of March, be there. It's free.
Very cool.
What more can we do?
No, indeed.
But you can support us more with a $10 ticket. So
there you go. Thanks so much for taking the time and the privilege to come on our show.
Completely. My pleasure. Love speaking with you guys. And anytime you want to speak to me. We're going to be doing these every 6 months by the looks of it. So
great stuff. Yeah, regular thing.
Keep it going. We're going to try and find some funding for it as well. So
thanks so much, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
I just have an amazing event, and I know you will.
Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all get together, music can save the world. Yeah. Music can save the world. Music can save the world. If we all come together, music can save the world.
Thank you so much for watching. To stay up to date, please click subscribe and hit the bell. You can also join our group on Facebook and find us on LinkedIn and Instagram.